Hello, everyone. My name is Zach. I am with Atlas Agency Launch Lab. I am uh, a agency owner, been in the space for about 5 years with Atlas Online Solutions. And this is the start of hopefully a series of podcast style interviews where I want to sit down with an actual agency owner, ask them some below the surface questions that they can maybe, excuse me, hopefully hopefully provide some quality and maybe answer some questions that you've been having, and see that no matter where you are in your stage of this journey that we've been there too. So with me today is Mr. John Nelson. He's with JKL Works. He is a go high level genius, maybe. Is that the right word?
I wouldn't go that far, but
No.
hey,
Okay. Well,
some would say, others would say, are you absolutely crazy? Do you know what you're talking about?
well, thankfully that's not us.
Yeah, right.
How long you been in the space, John?
Well, I've been just like you, been in the space about 5 years
Okay.
of actual digital marketing, and sometimes I do come alongside Atlas Agency Launch Lab with the new thing that we have going there to help with some of the go high level and the business process things. So we'll talk about that some more probably later. But I've been in marketing about 5 years, and I've been in sales and marketing another 5 years before that, but I would say I guess it was March of 2018. I'm sitting there outside my daughter's swim practice, and a video comes on from another coach on the internet here. That they're big into the sales and marketing thing, and it really got my attention. And I suddenly realized from that point, I mean, it's kind of an aha moment. Realized that all the things that I wasn't doing well, and how digital marketing could really make some of that happen for me.
Yeah, it's always sort of the dream to have the laptop style life.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that quickly find out that it's not quite that easy. Which is unfortunate. So it's awesome that you were able to sort of break out of that and make yourself successful in a space where a lot of people drop out.
Yeah.
What about your agency that makes you uniquely special to you?
Well, it is. I mean, I've kind of bounced around, sort of the semi-origin story, because it feeds into my agency a little bit. Is that I started, before that aha moment, of the marketing type of, realizing what was there. Before that, it was 15 years at the time of various aspects of small business ownership. I was considered what's called a managing partner. And then there were 4 or 5 of us, and our smallest was business was like 5 people, but the largest was like 200. So it's all a small business thing, and we all serve different roles. And so mine was usually director of business operations, so that's the IT work, but that also got into, so that's my background, but also got into HR and purchasing and shipping, and logistics for these. Most of them were big pieces of transportation equipment. So shipping containers and big over-the-road flatbed trailers, that sort of thing. But it taught me a whole lot about and my experience before that taught me a lot about business process mapping. Because one of my first assignments at a job, even before that, at a consulting company, they were consulting engineers, was to map their business process. And I got the complete deer in the headlight look thing. I was a 20-something-year-old kid. Sure. And it's like, oh crap, what do I do with this? But once I figured it out, I embraced it and was able to bring it forward to that set of business ownership. So fast forward to the back in the marketing agency, and and I guess what kind of I've done the typical marketing agency things. I've worked with some SEO. I've done, which was kind of a disaster actually in the beginning because it takes so long to develop and hard to sell. But I've had several clients, but they're all sort of different types. And then I started trying to marry this together, and everything sort of came into focus. And I ended up changing my niche of niching down, but kind of to an unusual niche of digital marketers themselves.
Okay.
And some of these online coaches, which is kind of how I met you guys, and started working with those types of folks, and so that I think kind of makes me a little unique, makes my little marketing agency kind of unique, and that marrying it with the business process. And really applying that to the way agencies do things, because sometimes we get in such a rut that we don't always go back and look, and then we have problems. And the only way to solve them is to go back and find where that bug is in the system, where that hitch is in the process. It's not working the way it's supposed to work. So
sure.
Those things kind of make me special, endearment to people. I hope.
So, of course, there's hundreds of thousands of actually almost limitless niches, that you can go into, and it, especially for somebody new, it really blinds them, or just a sense of overwhelm of, I don't want to get it wrong.
Sure.
How did you get into the niche of helping other marketers?
Well, I mean, what I try to tell people and counsel them, because it's true for me too, and I think it's true for a lot of people, is try to find a group of people that you relate to. First of all, I mean, I wasn't always this way, but I have come to believe that niching, because I started out very much as a generalist trying to help everybody, and it still will. But I started kind of trying to narrow that focus, because it just makes the marketing easier. It makes the messaging that you put everything together easier. So, I mean, it's digital marketers are, so you then try to pick people that you can relate to, that you can share some sort of story with. And I started for a little while. I was working with wellness. And because I have a little bit of a story there, mostly as a patient of a chiropractor who was doing a lot of marketing right 10 years ago, but I didn't necessarily realize what it was. He was really ahead of his time on some of that stuff.
Sure.
And his practice grew to be ginormous at the time as a result.
Awesome.
And so, I had a bit of a story there to tell, that I thought I could go talk to wellness people. Well, it still didn't quite resonate. And then we came to a point where I started, networking with other marketers out here. And, one of the things that we do, I don't know if this has been your experience or not, Zach, but one of the things that marketers do that's very cool is we are willing to collaborate with other people that technically would be our competition. I really do appreciate that about marketing. And so, as I was doing some of that and just networking with people in general, I started trying to say, you know what, there's probably some of these people that have asked, they're just like me. The mechanic's car doesn't run as well as we would like to admit it does, that it doesn't. And so there are problems somewhere that they really do want to support, and they really do want to run, but they're not running as well as they should have, or they haven't got the attention that they should have, or there's something about them that's not doing right. So I decided to start coming alongside and trying to find those areas of a given business and say, hey, where are you not? I know you're an expert in a lot of things, but there's probably something you're not doing as well as you would like. Sure. Can I have a look at that and try to help, support it and bring it up? And that's where I started finding success. I mean, started getting clients that are maybe they're not digital marketers in the true sense. They're more coaches, Well, one's a dedicated marketing agency, but they're serving specific niches. They've picked niches themselves of people.
Okay.
Some based on experience, some based on, in particular of the coaches who, try to duplicate the programs they have, that are successful, and try to sell them as that. It's the natural thing to do. But they have niches themselves. So I figured they're good. They're really good at talking to those people. They're really good at speaking that language. So maybe I could come alongside and white label support them. And I got to tell you, Zach, I mean, once I did that, though, it's like, looking for something and you don't find it. All of a sudden you find it, and then suddenly it's everywhere around you. It's been there the whole time, but you never noticed. I use the analogy of looking for the blue, buying a blue car. You're looking to buy a blue car. All of a sudden the blue cars are everywhere.
Right. You never noticed how many blue cars there were.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. You never saw that before. So yeah, and so they've kind of come out of the woodwork with it, but it's still a very greenfield opportunity, because I know I can help these people by working on that business process, working on some of the things and so I don't have to have a service. This is going to sound bad, but I don't necessarily have to have a service that I'm, good at selling, ads or website design. I can do it. But I'm not necessarily, I don't have to be as good at that, because I'm helping the back ends and the places where they have the holes, and they'll hopefully tell me where they have the holes. And those are the things that I focus on, and let them do things they're good at. And maybe we can help each other. Maybe they can help me on a project sometime if they're marketers.
Gotcha. Yeah. There's always room for improvement, and always inefficiencies that get in the way. I definitely want to make this thing we're doing right now a little bit different, as it's not just sort of talking about how great we are and we're here.
Oh, you mean I can't get on here and pitch all the time for everybody, and everybody you bring on, we just can't. It's not an extra place to market our services.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always good to make yourself feel good and say, I'm here, I made it, or at least I'm farther than I thought I'd be. But
sometimes being a little self-deprecating doesn't hurt either. Sometimes,
well, just the
humility,
right? Sort of what was we're all people. We all started from somewhere with different backgrounds.
Exactly.
But what was the lowest moment for you when you were getting things up and running, if you don't mind?
We are going to go deep in this one, aren't we?
Well, it doesn't have to be super personal.
No, it's a fair question. Because I think it was really, really and truly not that long ago.
Okay.
It was probably not quite this time last year, but pretty close.
Okay.
And so I'd been in, a little over 4 years, was, kind of, I had some opportunity to, really try to get this out here, but I was kind of, following some great training, but trying to duplicate it instead of using it organically to grow what I'm doing. And so I wasn't having anywhere near the success that I'd had, that I wanted to have, certainly, or that I'd had. And so it was, and a client that I had was, was an e-com client, and it's in the t-shirt business. And if you've ever been in that or know anybody in that, unless they're well established, don't get in it, because it is horribly competitive. Yeah. And the only thing you can sell are your designs. And this one was just starting out with their company, and they had some good designs, but they didn't have enough sales to back everything up. The problem is some of that was my responsibility. And so just coming off the end of that, and things hadn't been working. I mean, I'd been going hard at it for a year, trying to, put together the absolute best systems possible. And then that was really I've really been on this full time marketing. Even though I discovered it 5 years ago, I've really been at it full time for about 2 years.
Gotcha.
Now in 2023, about the time that I discovered Go High Level. in 2021. But here's 2022 now, and I'm just, things are not working the way I want them to work, and it's just getting lower and lower and lower. And I've got to give a forever shout out to my wife. She may or may not ever see this. I don't know, but this is one of those people that at that time that I was at my lowest, that nothing was working. She kept saying the same things to me. Is even though she has, she's highly intelligent, but marketing is not where her strength is.
Sure.
She's a customer service person. She is anal about customer service because she's done it for many, many years and recognizes it when it's good and really harps on it when it's bad because she knows how to do it better. But she sat there and told me the whole time, there's a plan in this. Keep going. There's a plan. Don't give up. I know you're frustrated. Don't just, there is a plan in all of this. And it comes from on high for us. It comes from on high. And so she, would reference that a lot. And so it's, there is a plan. Keep doing this. Keep going. Keep going. And I remember just kind of sitting there on like Christmas Eve of last year. And I think I just sat out in my office. It was kind of separated in a different house at the time. So I was really thinking, I just kept playing. There was a couple of songs that I had really grown attached to that were kind of Christmassy songs, but I just kept playing them over and over and over again. And I just remember coming in Christmas Eve, just lost, that I didn't know where this was going to go. But the messages I did keep getting from so many circles was, don't give up, keep going with this. It's about to break. Keep going. That started from her, but it didn't end with her. It came from other sources. Other people out of the blue would say some of the same things to me. And so, and even got into, early this year, and I was trying the wellness thing and it wasn't working. All of a sudden, it just takes one thing and it just clicked. I found the right people. I found the right direction to go. And 6 months later, it is getting better all the time, as the song goes. And it is on its way up. I have that continuing feeling that everything is going to work out. Everything is going to do what it's supposed to do. It's just taken an awful lot longer than I wanted. But that was my lowest point, was about that time. So there's a lot of people, let me just say for a second, there's a lot of people who get into this. There's, for any number of reasons, who get into digital marketing. Maybe they want the laptop lifestyle. Maybe they want to work from home. Maybe they don't want to have to mess with people. Maybe I don't know, whatever it is. And there will be probably 2/3 of those, get discouraged and get out and go somewhere else because it's not what they thought it was. The entrepreneurial lifestyle in general is not what everybody thinks it is. I did some blog posts. I need to come back and revive them. They're actually based off of some articles that I had seen, is, ways to know that you are an entrepreneur and ways to know that you're not an entrepreneur, basically. So it's not for everybody. But if it's in your gut, if you know when you're in the right spot, if you feel it down to your boogity shoes, as they say, that you really know you're supposed to be here, then keep at it. Keep trying to find that place and that space where you work, and there is hope to do it. It's not you. It's the side of it we don't always talk about, right? That it can be confusing and you don't know which way to go. And there's a million different opportunities and you don't know which one seems to resonate with you. Keep looking for that spot, because when you find it, you find it. It's like holding on to a ski rope on a ski boat. If you've ever been water skiing, you get a hold of that thing, it's as soon as you get a hold of that thing and they start that boat, you're gone. Now, at 6'4", I'm about as gangly as you get up on water skis. I'd rather tube behind a boat, but nonetheless,
ready or not, here we go. Right?
Yeah, right. I do recognize the power, but that's what it's like. So,
gotcha. So that would be. Would you say that'd be sort of like one really good piece of advice for somebody that's just starting out, or somebody that's kind of noticing sort of how difficult it can be, is that you just have to keep trying. You have to keep trying to innovate. You have to,
Mm-hmm.
imperfect action is better than perfect inaction.
That's very well said. Very well said. And it's hard it can be hard to find your place in this, believe it or not, because from the outside, let's be honest, it looks like easy money. You see these stories of people that some of them get huge returns on this. Some of them get huge margins of things that they do, and all you have to do is copy somebody else and make it work for you just like it worked for them. Well, the reality, one, is that doesn't always happen. You have to find your own voice in this, but you have to also be, you've got to find your own place. I mean, I guess that's the advice, is to find your own place in it that's uniquely you. Don't try to be something you're not. Find the place in it there is room. Find the place that's uniquely suited to what you do and what you enjoy. Because if you don't do that, ultimately it will catch up with you, and you will get burned out on it, and you will lose your way, and you'll want to go to something else. I've talked to a handful of marketers that are, that were that way, that started out with all these high expectations and all this stuff. And it's just, they're not getting the results they wanted because they're just straight trying to copy something, and they can't find their place in it. And they end up just discouraged and wandering off. And so find your place in it that's unique to you, and then stay at it and keep networking, and don't give up. That's another one. They say to network anyway. Definitely network in this space, because there are people that will network with you and that will work with you. Don't try to sell them, just try to get to know them, and you never know what'll come out of that.
Yeah, that's what we found, especially lately, is that a lot of people are worried about giving up a piece of their pie, but you'll find that it's not only easier, but you can grow faster and farther by letting somebody in, like yourself, because I'm not the best in the actual excuse me, not the best at certain actions. So we bring in other people. They may take part of our pie, but now the whole pie gets bigger.
Well, and don't be afraid that, you're right, because then they bring in other people. They bring in other sales opportunities from their group and their people that they know, or if not sales opportunities, maybe it's to fill a niche, fill a role that needs to be filled, to make it all the stronger. And then, you're right, everybody wins, because then everybody starts collectively. If you're willing to give up a little bit, you get so much more in return, because it's not only that, it's not only the deal at hand, so to speak, that you're giving up a little bit of a piece of. And so 100% or 80% margin suddenly looks like 20%, but now you've networked with people who bring you 3 other deals over here that the margins are a little bit bigger. So you look at each situation individually, and you try to say, try to look at the big picture of it, and try to really kind of map out how that's going to work for you, and be willing to, to give some more of yourself than you might otherwise. That's kind of one thing that I've noticed for some reason is, and if people ever figure this out, you're going to see an explosion of knowledge. Okay. So let's look at Facebook. We're used to, the freemium thing. We get a whole bunch in return for free. Essentially, we get more if we pay, but we get a whole bunch but I'm surprised how few people readily give up, knowledge or training on how to do something, willingly, unless there is some type of financial something attached to it. There are others that don't. I mean, there's people who clearly have figured this out, and they give a lot more value than they charge for, in that sense, because they're going after it's the same thing. It's kind of just a different way of looking at it. They're going after the bigger fish. So they're giving up a little bit of value with their knowledge up front that's unique and stands out. And then they're getting a whole bunch of other people who look at that and go, wow, what else do they know?
Exactly.
And suddenly that turns into business.
Right.
So when people figure that out, I hope you're going to see an explosion of knowledge out there, particularly in groups, that are people looking to share that sort of thing, because it really helps everybody.
Yeah. No,
including you.
Including myself. Yeah. No, and not only, what is it? Rising water lifts all boats. Right. But it's
exactly,
if you're having trouble trying to get businesses to work with you, and making it, it's one of the biggest things is that there's so many people in this space that are just not trustworthy. They really shouldn't be
shouldn't necessarily be out. I mean, you get that in a lot of businesses, though.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's so to get in the space is such a low barrier to entry that anybody can make a Facebook page.
True.
Whatever. It's less than a few $100 to really get started, and a lot of these businesses are being pitched over and over and over again. And why should they go with you? And the easiest way to build their trust is to prove that you can do what you're saying that you can do.
Yeah, put out a little bit of value right ahead, ahead of it all, and it just builds legitimacy. It really does, and it's in the places that you can. And at the very least, it helps hone your skills. If nothing, people talk about learning to do something. I want to learn Go High Level. Okay. I want to learn how to do a website and Go High Level. Fine, go build a website and Go High Level and use it for a project. Go talk to a nonprofit who needs they need your expertise, and they need your time and their effort, and it lets you then sort of, you don't want to really screw them up with it, but it lets you experiment a little bit and do some things you might not otherwise do on a commercial gig, because they're willing to let you try it and see how well it works. And that builds your skills at the meantime and get your message out there.
Right.
You can then point to that and say, what? I did, Mr. Client Potential, I did that. And I helped this organization. It's something that I'm interested in. So it's a cause that I can get behind. So yeah, there's lots of those opportunities like that to show your worth and do that. So, and one of the other ones that I've actually learned from you guys was market research. When you're looking, take a little time if you want to get to know a niche a little better, and call them up and say, I would like to, if you have a couple of minutes, I just want to talk to you because I'm trying to talk to, med spa owners or dentists or whatever. I want to understand you guys. I want to understand the market. I've got a little bit of background, in it because I've been a patient, obviously, some more than others, but everybody's been a patient of a dentist at one point, but so you work that out yourself. But, can you just talk to me about the industry and kind of where you see it going? And so then, they're flattered because you're calling them and asking them. And most importantly, you're not selling them, but you're learning. And you will. You maybe not them, but another somebody in their industry based on the information that they gave you. So I've learned that from you guys, and it's yet the same thing. It's providing more information that doesn't financially benefit you, or gathering more information, and it makes a big difference. Yeah,
and one of the biggest things that I found is that obviously when you reach out, your actual cold reach out has to be 5, 10, 15 times what you may have thought it was going to be the minimum to actually get any sort of return, just because all these businesses are getting just pounded
Sure.
daily by by people claiming that they can do
Oh yeah.
what we
We all
do.
get the Google business listing calls, right? Even when
Right.
we opt in,
Yep.
no matter how many times we opt out of them.
Yep. And so it's lost my train of thought.
Okay, wait and catch the next one.
No,
Why do
but
people from the Northeast laugh at that? Why is that? I'm just kidding.
it's the idea that you give, and then make your ask, or if you can wait, you give until they actually ask you to, until they reach out and they want to work with you because they just see the value just oozing off of you and everything that you say and that you do and that you provide, and you build up enough of that and you build up enough of that rapport, and you actually get people coming to see you instead of you trying to reach out and scratch and claw for every lead and phone number and email that you can find. And so
and that's kind of a fine line, isn't it? I mean, you don't want to give strictly to get something in return, guys. Sorry, but you don't.
Yeah, it's
but it's enough benevolent giving out there, and yeah, leaving a trail. I mean, you don't totally want to be devoid of it and not get anything out of it, but it's a hard line to find where that is between really truly giving a lot of value because it matters and because you care about it, and yes, it benefits you too, and truly out there parading going. And it's a hard line to find, is what I'm saying. I mean, but it's truly out there parading, going, I gave all this stuff. Look at what I did.
Yeah,
which is not the point.
Yeah,
it's hard to find that line sometimes.
If you can give without the expectation of the get, then it obviously makes it easier. But most people aren't stupid. They can tell when when you're doing something just to maybe try and prove a point, some goodwill. But if they can sense that you're a decent human being in this space and that you actually want to, you're in this to make money, right? Wouldn't want to do it.
Sure, everybody assumes that, and rightfully so. We are, but
you also want to really help people. You want to,
there's plenty of room to do that.
Yeah. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. I would like to. I would like to get something that I know. Maybe not everybody knows this, but I've been around you long enough, Zach, that it's kind of near and dear to your heart. That I'd like to get some of my work-life balance, back. I'm fine with I've been in enough businesses that you pour a lot of effort into the beginning. You have to. There's no other way to do it. There is no shortcut. It'll be a lot of late nights. It'll be some weekends. It'll be taking calls and working on things at times when you don't want to. But there is another side. And so there, if you're willing to push through that and to invest that time, then there is another side. How does the phrase go? If you do what others want, or how does it go? If you do what others can't do, no. If you do what others won't, later you get to do what others can't.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So it's there's something to be said for that. But then when you do get that opportunity, take that work-life balance. So that's what I would like to do more of in 5 years. But at the same time, I want to have an agency that's big enough that is doing some of the same ideals that I started with, that is actually working with digital marketers. It may look different in 5 years than it does now, digital marketing space, with some of the technologies that are around. But there's still people who want to get into it. There's still people who can get into it. And I want to be able to have a team that helps them and has some really cool stories as a result, and maybe helps them, find some of those nonprofits of organizations that we feel, that are important, that they're doing important work, and go support them, either with, financially or with marketing services. help them spread the word about what they're doing. I want to be able to do that. And then that gives me the opportunity also to travel some more, which I enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great. Well, we're getting a little long on time. I don't want to really drag this out. I kind of want to make this as short, sweet, and in a digestible format.
Well, you picked the wrong guy. You picked the wrong guy to have on your show. So
that's why I limited the questions. What's the one question that you wish that I asked you, and how would you have answered?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, if you were traveling in a car at the speed of light and you turn your headlights on, would anything happen? But I might get a note from Stephen Wright somewhere. He's out there somewhere. But it's I love him. He's awesome. Actually, the question would probably be something like, and it sort of tease off your last question, is, where do you see digital marketing in 5 years?
Okay.
And how I would answer that is, I think that it will be consolidated some. AI will take care of some of that. But as you said earlier, the barrier of entry is so low that there'll still be people who want to get into it. It's just going to look different. They need to, we all need to take an eye towards, I've heard us called marketing strategists or business strategists. We need to focus on that, because the services, some of them will be replaced. The actual services will be replaced by AI, some of them. The actual other services will be replaced by people who can do it cheaper than we can do it.
Yep.
And so what's left is the sort of the people who don't want to think on that level. I mean, it's not a knock against them. There's some people in this world that are, that are excellent teachers and they're awful administrators. We want to promote people. We tend to want to promote people out of their strengths instead of incentivizing them where they're absolutely best at and perfect at. So, you're not going to, but there is a definite place for people who are, looking at the strategy side, looking at the bigger picture of things, trying to really look at a client and say, it's not just one service that's going to help you. It's a couple of services done this way, talking to these people that are really going to make the difference for you, Mr. Client or Miss Client. And that's going to be a big deal. And so I think that toward that strategy is kind of where this is all going. And,
gotcha.
And hey, bodes well for somebody like me, because that's where I'm going. So,
well, other people are always going to want that human element.
Mm-hmm.
I
think so. I think so. I mean, AI is not going to replace everything.
Right. It's just it's the idea of going from horses to everyone being horse and carriage into the cars, and
right,
and how it's just another tool for us to do what it is that we're doing.
Exactly.
And as long as we can see AI in a light of this is just a better hammer. Mm-hmm. It's not going to, it can't swing itself. It's not going to take my job. Then
exactly. It's a tool. It's a tool that in the hands of the right people can really fill some things that are hard to fill sometimes, and some creativity places where we lack. I'm not totally down on it. It's not going to fill everything, but it is going to be a part of, in 5 years. It is without a doubt going to be very much a part of what we do, in its places, in its niches.
All right. Where can listeners find you online?
Okay. Well, there is always the website, and the mechanic's car doesn't run as much as I'd like it to, but I've worked on changing that. JKLworks.com is my website, is always where, at least you can find the start. I'm also on several Facebook groups. There may be some people who see this who are, in various Facebook groups that I'm doing lives in, either by myself or with Miss Sheena-Leigh Kennerley. And we have a great time doing all that together and sharing a lot of knowledge. And so I want to put out more of that. So you'll probably see more of me around, and, feel free to interact, feel free to ask questions. And then if you are, of course, a digital marketing agency with some aspect of, or, small business with some aspect of your business you're not doing as well, not even always marketing centric, and you think I might be a fit, look me up, in one of those places, and we'll see what we can do. We'll figure out if we're a fit to work together or not. So.
Absolutely. How can they support you in your work?
That's that's just it, through networking, through connecting to people who,
of course,
if you don't have a need, I'm huge on referrals, on the concept of referrals, because I was educated in it, not early on in my marketing, but probably a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, as to the true value of what referrals can do to somebody, and paid referrals at that. So I do pay for referrals, but they generally have to be customers of mine for that to happen. But but in the true sense of it, if you know somebody that could use, something of what I do, or at least for me to have a look, even if your business doesn't, look me up, send them my way. Let's talk about what that looks like. My very first client came from somebody that I knew, that was a referral. It was a business he owned a part of, and it was a window and door business. And so that's how my first client came around. And so if somebody can, has that need, then send them my way, and we'll talk about it. It may or may not be a fit, but I'll take good care of it.
Wonderful. Great. So, thanks so much, John, for coming on. I hope, at least one person that either was watching live, or there it is, jklworks.com down there in the comments.
Yeah. Okay. Good deal. Thank you.
These are going to be pinned in the group. And anyone that will watch it in the future, hopefully it answers one or more of their questions. It gives them some value. If you ever have any questions about what we were talking about, feel free to leave it in the comments. The other group is monitored, and we can bring it where it is. Hope everyone likes this sort of a back and forth kind of podcast thing. Mm-hmm. It's my first go at it. We're going to try to do it Tuesdays and Fridays right here in the group.
Yep. And you're doing great. And I've seen some of your guest list, and you got some really cool things coming up. So you guys won't want to miss it. So be on the lookout for his podcasts here, we call it podcasts, but for these shows. And who knows? Maybe it is a podcast, right?
Someday. Maybe. And this isn't just for those that are established. If you're somebody that is maybe newer in the space, mm-hmm. Actually from sort of brand new all the way up to what would be a veteran, I guess. Yeah. And you'd like to come on here and talk, and hopefully give some inspiration and some aspirations for somebody else that is in the same spot that you are or you were. Mm-hmm. Feel free to leave a comment, and hopefully we can get you on the schedule. Okay.
Very cool.
Again, John from JKL Works. Thank you so much for jumping on. My name's Zach from Atlas Agency Launch Lab, and we'll see you later.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for watching.
Bye.